I was debating whether I was going to do this talk today. And as far as me talking today, I was debating what I was going to talk about. There was different topics that were flowing through my mind. But in terms of what I want you guys to take away from my talk, the time we live in and the challenges facing the country from which I come, Ireland, I thought the most important thing to talk to you all about was Irish national identity in a modern age. Typically, in anti-immigrant protests, a chant that is most commonly chanted is Ireland for the Irish. And when people say the Irish, trust me, they do not envision a guy like me. And this has always posed a massive challenge to me throughout my life because I've always been able only to associate myself and my identity to the country of Ireland. I was raised by a Nigerian mother, and I'm proudly Nigerian. I'm of Nigerian descent, who came to Ireland as an asylum seeker, seeking greener pastures within the Republic of Ireland. And because of this, Ireland has been all that I've known. Yet time and time again, through every phase of my life, I've faced obstacles and rejection anytime I've tried to proclaim an association with the country from which I've come. But it's always been on a minuscule level. The bully on the schoolyard, the guy on the estate when you try and play football with him who doesn't pass the ball to you because you're the black fellow who's not from Ireland. But now what we've witnessed, not only in Ireland but across Europe and the broader West, is a political movement that aims to have you all, as policymakers and ordinary people on the ground, separate, draw a dividing line between people like me, who claim to associate to a Western country like Ireland, and so-called natives. In Germany, we see it vis-a-vis the AfD and efforts from the far right. In France, we see it from figures like Marine Le Pen and the far right figures there too. But I'm very optimistic about the Irish case for nationalism. I think in the Irish national tradition, there's enough in our history, enough in our past, enough in our experience of persecution and subjugation from the land that we're in right now to study, to demonstrate that there's no room for exclusionary behavior vis-a-vis Irish nationalism. There's something I'm going to coin and introduce to you guys right now. I call it the James Connelly paradox. Hands up who knows James Connelly. Has anyone heard of James Connelly? The two Irishmen. Oh gosh, I'll be Jesus. Well, James Connelly was a trade union hero, a hero of the left as well from the Republic of Ireland, who died in 1916 fighting for Irish independence from the United Kingdom. Recently at a far-right protest, can you believe it, a far-right protester who tried to argue that I was not an Irishman, that Ireland was for the Irish, held up a poster of James Connelly, saying this man died for our country, and the immigrants coming here don't belong here because this man who died for our country wouldn't stand for them. The joke is he was an immigrant. James Connelly, in fact, in his essay Harpstrings, James Connelly claimed in his essay that no Irishman should demonize the immigrant. This is not only said by James Connelly, but John Hume, a politician from Northern Ireland, claimed that difference is an accident of birth, and it should therefore not be the source of hatred or conflict. The more and more you look into quotes, phrases, poetry from great Irish figures in history, the less you see room for anti-immigrant exclusionary politics. So in Irish nationalism, unlike nationalism in so many other countries, there's a case for inclusivity, a case for togetherness, a case against the politics of hatred. And this gives me hope. And I'd like to see more policymakers and politicians who know the data is on the side of allowing immigrants to integrate within the community, not see to the politics of hatred, not give in to populist whims, not call countries potentially an island of strangers if they let in more immigrants, but who rise to the challenge of fighting back against hatred and making a room for an inclusive politics that allows for people like me to affiliate with the only land that I've ever known throughout my life. From a policy perspective, it's not as easy as using nice words and talking about James Connelly and great Irish revolutionaries. We know that when it comes to pushback against immigration, it's due to material concerns. It's because ordinary working class people see immigrants as people who might depress their wages, who might steal their jobs. It's funny because immigrants are the only people who can bring down our wages and take all our jobs, but also are the lazy ones who never work. I don't know how that works. But these material concerns sometimes are considerable. And if we are political leaders, if we're policymakers, we have to try and account for them in how we make rules. What I'd like our leaders to do is to rise to the challenge of bringing us together and not ceding to populism. The last word I'm going to leave from you is from a taxi driver who dropped me here today. His name is Nakash. He comes from Pakistan. I was characteristically late for the showcase. And Nakash on the way here was giving me a soliloquy about the type of politics he'd like to see championed here in the UK. And what he said to me was this. He said, Eric, we need more people, he genuinely said this, who care for humanity in politics. Because since I've come here from Pakistan, I face nothing but hate and people that told me I don't belong. I've driven taxis here for decades, and despite the people I meet, upper class, middle class, lower class, they say the same thing to me time and time again. I implore you all, when you go back to your countries, whether it's Afghanistan, Northern Ireland, Colombia, Ukraine, to champion a politics of inclusivity. Don't be like the leaders we see on television and think that that's the only choice. You can be better. You don't have to demonize immigrants. You don't have to see them as a number. You don't have to talk about sending back boats as if it's figurines or toys or cartoons on those boats. But you can appreciate humanity and how you treat to the other and see them as being part of you as you see the natives as being part of you and your traditions and culture. Thank you very much.